One study found that money trouble can hurt your thinking as much as losing an entire night of sleep, or about 13 points off your IQ. Not because poor people are less smart, because worrying about money uses up brain power, and it doesn't give that brain power back. Here's how researchers actually found this. In 2004, a team of economists went to a sugarcane village in India. Sugarcane farmers there get paid once a year, right after harvest. That means the same farmer has plenty of money in the months right after selling his crop, and almost none in the months leading up to the next one. Same person, same job, same brain. Just less money in his pocket at one time of year than the other. The researchers gave these farmers a simple thinking test, the kind that checks how well you can solve problems and remember things, and gave it to them twice. Once right after harvest, when they had cash. Once right before it, when money was tight. The results weren't close. The exact same farmers did much worse on the test before harvest than after it. Nothing about how smart they were had changed. Nothing about their schooling had changed. The only thing that changed was how much money they had to worry about that week. So what does worrying about money actually do to your brain? Think of your mind like it has a limited amount of space for thinking. Space for focus, memory, and making good choices. That space isn't endless, and money worry eats into it. When you have enough money, a bill is just an errand. You glance at it, you pay it, you move on, and your mind is free again a few seconds later. When you don't have enough, that same bill doesn't just sit in your inbox, it sits in your head. Can I cover this and groceries too? What happens if I don't pay it? Which is worse, being late on this or skipping something else? That worry doesn't turn off when you close the tab. It keeps running quietly in the background all day, using up the same mental space you need for everything else. Your job, helping with homework, even deciding what to buy at the store. Researchers tested this directly at a mall in New Jersey. They asked shoppers, both lower income and higher income, to imagine their car needed a repair. For half of them, the repair was cheap, a couple $100s, no big deal. For the other half, the repair was expensive, $1,500, real money. Then everyone took the same thinking test. When the pretend repair was cheap, lower income and higher income people scored about the same. But when the pretend repair was expensive, something happened only to the lower income group. Their scores dropped hard, about the same drop as losing a full night of sleep. The wealthier group, imagining that same expensive repair, barely changed at all. For them, $1,500 was stressful but manageable. For the other group, it was the kind of number that could quietly take over their thoughts for the rest of the day, even though the repair hadn't even happened yet. This is the part that changes how you should see all of this. A lot of what looks like bad decision-making in poverty isn't really about character, it's about math. If a chunk of your thinking space is always busy running the numbers on rent and groceries, and whether you can cover both, there's simply less of your brain left over for anything else, including the kind of long-term planning that's supposed to help you get out of the situation in the first place. This creates something researchers sometimes call the poverty tax, and it's a cruel loop. When your thinking space is taken up by short-term survival, big decisions get harder to make, not easier. Reading the fine print on a loan takes mental effort you might not have to spare, so people often pick the loan that's easiest to understand, not the one that's actually cheapest. Comparing prices at 3 different stores costs time and focus that's already been spent elsewhere, so people often just buy from the first store, even if it's not the cheapest. None of this is about being careless. It's what happens when you ask a brain that's already overloaded to handle one more complicated decision. The same mental tax that makes it hard to save for the future while broke is the same tax that makes a bad loan look reasonable at 11 at night when rent is due tomorrow and there's barely any thinking space left to work it out properly. And here's what makes this different from ordinary bad judgment. The same person, given some breathing room, makes noticeably better choices. In that same sugarcane village, the farmers with cash after harvest weren't smarter people. They were the same people with more room to think. Give someone enough space that they're not doing constant survival math in their head, and a lot of what looked like poor self-control quietly disappears, because it was never really about self-control. It was about how much thinking space they had left, and it had already been spent somewhere else. This doesn't mean money worry affects everyone the exact same way, or that it's the only thing shaping anyone's choices. But the research keeps showing the same pattern in farmers in India, shoppers in New Jersey, and plenty of other studies since. And it points to something simple and uncomfortable. The mental toll of not having enough money isn't just a side effect of being poor. It's one of the things that keeps people stuck there. It uses up the exact mental energy someone would need to plan their way out, right when they need it the most. So the next time you see someone make a money decision that looks careless from the outside, the expensive convenience store purchase, the loan with terrible terms, the bill that got ignored until it became a crisis, it's worth asking what you can't see. Not what they were thinking, what they had left to think with.